Yo, what is up, you guys? So, in this video, I'm going to show you kind of how to make a sort of bass pad. You can kind of use it as either or. Just really depends how you play it, and it's really simple to do. It's just a simple massive patch. So, let me show you what is going on here. So, I do believe that is this one. So, you heard it right there at the beginning. It sounds like this. That's what we'll do, and I'll give you two variations on it, and you'll see what I mean in a bit. But all you can see that I'm doing here on the processing side after massive, although this sound is completely 100% massive, there's just a little bit of EQ8 to cut out some more lows. So I'm starting that around 83 Hertz, and then I follow that up with a compressor. So there's a reverb here that I'm not using. Let's get rid of that. So you can see my settings there. It's just really to kind of get a little bit of bass out of it and kind of just make it a little bit tighter. So you can see my settings there if you want. So they're kind of very weird settings, but you know, it kind of just works. So, and then we have a filter, which is kind of around 26 Hertz. So again, just cutting out some more of that extreme low. You know, when it's always good to, it's kind of weird, but you would think that throwing one EQ or one filter would completely cut out those frequencies, but you kind of need to reapply it as much as you can in little increments, so that way it's gradual, it's not phasey, and you know, you really get rid of those frequencies. And then we have another EQ8. It's probably just a copy of the other one. Actually, I think this one's at 67 Hertz. So you know, you kind of notice they're all in different places, just so that you know, they're not all like cutting from the same spot and creating this weird sort of it would just sound it just sounds more natural to kind of place it in different spots, I guess is all I'm trying to say. And then I just have a limiter there, and for some reason, I guess the gain is down. It's probably not supposed to be like that, but maybe I did that for some reason I remember. Nope, I don't think so. So the limiter there is just for a little bit of control. You could also throw a sausage fattener instead of a limiter, because it kind of, the sausage fattener is weird like that. It's like a limiter, a saturator, and a whole bunch of other stuff in one plugin. So sometimes when I don't want to use a limiter like that, I just throw a sausage fattener and I actually kind of color it a bit as well. So you can decide to do that if you want. So let's get to the massive part of this. So this is actually super easy to do. So we could just go ahead and duplicate this, and we can just let me show you the MIDI first. Back here. So the MIDI is actually around the second octave, so you know, now you get a good idea of what notes I'm playing and how I'm playing it. But if you played shorter notes, you know, you would definitely get a more common bassline-y kind of thing going on. So you realize that I had to turn off these tracks, because if I turn it on, it sustains the note. Now the reason why it does that is because I have a hold right here in the envelope 4. So let's go new sound. So by adding that hold there, what that does is it kind of sustains the envelope after the note has stopped or another one begins. So it's I use that here, and it's kind of a weird thing I don't always use in massive. It's kind of one of those things that most people just can't find a good use for. But if you really want to get a good pad sound, and you just kind of, or an atmosphere, sometimes fucking around with that hold button in an envelope is a good way to get a long sustaining thing. Or if you want to sample a waveform, you know, pressing that hold is pretty good as well. So yeah, let's get into this. So like I said, this was very simple. So let's start off in voicing, because we're going to want to have this on the monophone, and that's basically all we need to do in voicing. So now let's go back over here, and let's set this 2 octaves down, and we're going to leave all this just the way it is. You could route it to filter 1 directly if you want. We're only going to use one filter. But let's go the second oscillator, and we're going to bring this down an octave, and we're going to put it on the Polysaw 1. And so now it should sound something like this. So it's pretty cool sounding like that, but for what I was going for, I definitely knew I was going to filter it. So, you know, sometimes you get these nice clean things going on, and you really kind of shape it and color it with a filter. So let's throw a low pass 4. You can kind of go in between. You can decide if you like the low pass 2. I kind of prefer the low pass 4. So we're going to leave the cutoff where it is by default. We're going to drag that reso down a little bit. We're going to grab an envelope 1. I'm just going to drag it up. So just like around there. And now we're starting to have that kind of sound that we had earlier. So now let's we can actually, I have the envelope I always use for this. So I have an attack envelope 1 that I save for myself, and that's actually what I use on most envelope 1s. So it should sound something like this now. So I kind of want to just find a nice spot. You know, again, do this by ear, but I'm going to place mine kind of almost like, imagine a line at the end of this little blue thing right here. Kind of just going a little bit slightly after the F and the last F and cutoff. And then reso is something kind of want to do by ear a little bit as well, but I think it's good right there. So another thing we can do is just apply a little bit of feedback at this point. We can just throw this straight to filter 1. So we can just place it around there. And so now let's add a FX1. So let's just add a bit of chorus. So we're going to pull this down to like, 25% or so. A little the depth is really where you can kind of start to get different results with this. So let's play around with that a bit. So since I'm very indecisive, I like to add envelopes to things when I can't decide where to place a knob, and it actually gives me cooler results. So let's throw an envelope 1 on there. Or we can add an envelope 2 and make it a lot longer and, kind of create a different sort of thing. But, I didn't do that with the thing you heard at the beginning, so I won't do it here. And so, like I said, we're already, done except for envelope 4, which, like I said, this is a very simple thing to do. So, envelope 4, what we're going to do a little bit differently, we're just going to drag that tack down. Release is kind of fine, but we'll, make it a little bit, actually, we want to make it a little bit longer. Or shorter, I should say. So, despite what you see here, we're actually making the release shorter. So, if we made the release, if we wanted a longer release, we would do this. And you can see that, although it looks like this part is shrinking, it's just zooming out to show you the release. So, if it's zoomed in, it's a short release. It's some people get thrown off by this. Just don't. Look at the knob. And so, we're going to have a kind of short release, shorter. And now, this is the part where you have two options, like I mentioned earlier. So I was using that hold button, so when the MIDI stopped, it would sustain that envelope, or it would wait until the next note to, play something different. So if you don't want that, because you just don't want that part of the pad kind of thing, you can leave it on gate and just set the release to be kind of long. So that way, when it stops playing, it doesn't go on forever, but kind of still sustains enough to have like a sort of pad feel. So you kind of heard how it just died a little bit. But what I like about the hold though is when you do it with hold, it kind of keeps it going in a nice way. So something like that. So that's where you have some choices. I'm guessing most of you will want the second choice, which is gate, like how you normally would see, and a release of around there. And so I also did something else. I added a decay. I added a envelope 4. So the envelope we're working on is envelope 4, our main envelope for Massive, and I modulated the decay with its own envelope. So you get really cool results when that's on hold. So because it'll keep going and going, but it's adding more decay, so it's very interesting there. And then the last thing I did was add halfwave velocity, so that way, the way I played the MIDI, it kind of reacts to that. So. And a really easy way to kind of fuck around with this is, again, to play around with that depth. So the depth actually can change a lot of how this sounds. So that's it. Let's see if it matches the original. Probably won't. That's why I'll give you a free preset for this. So they sound very similar. I guess it's just slightly off, I guess, on the reso and maybe a cutoff position. So I will give you guys the patch for this. What is the patch name anyway? I do not remember. Let's see. I have it. I saved it because I knew I was going to fuck around with this. So let's see. I think it's called K-State House. So look out for that in the download section. It'll be called the K-State House. And so it's like this. It's exactly the patch you heard at the beginning. I just, didn't save it. So, I duplicated whatever. So thanks guys for watching. And if you don't already know, I'm going to start streaming on Twitch. So I'll add a little Twitch link to my videos for now on. And what I'll be doing on Twitch is I'll be streaming on Sundays. I don't know what hour yet. So, tell me a good hour on Sunday in the comments that you're available. I was thinking in the afternoon, but before 6, so maybe 4 to 5 or maybe 7 to 8 on Sundays. And what I'm gonna do is use Splice in my Twitch streams, so that way I can collaborate in real time with you guys over stream. So it's a really cool idea. So I'll update you guys more. So as we get nearer December 5th, when I'll start streaming, and then I'll start streaming on Sundays. And hopefully I can start doing another thing on Twitch where I kind of just have a podcast, like a regular talking podcast with, just fellow producers and YouTubers, just to talk about, general things in the music world. So I'll let you guys know more about that, but we'll take baby steps until then. So thanks guys for watching, and let's...